Knon 89.3 FM in Dallas and Fort Worth, the voice of the people. Business owners, tell KNON's listeners about your business. You can put your business or event on KNON. KNON currently has space available to run announcements for you. Tell KNON's listeners about your goods, services, nightclub, concert, or event. Help keep the voice of the people on the air while putting your information on the air. KNON's been named the #1 radio station in Dallas by both the Dallas Observer and D Magazine. Put your business with Dallas's #1 station. Call now for more information at 214-828-9500, extension 227, or extension 233. For more information, go to knon.org and click on the Run Spots on KNON page. It's a great way for your business to support community radio while letting more people know about you.
And welcome to Lambda Weekly. I'm Dave Taffet. I am here in the studio with Larone Landis and the late Reverend Patti Fink.
Your title just keeps growing and growing.
Yeah. Your title.
Thanks, dude.
Oh, that's right. I'm the dude.
Our guest today is Candy Marcum, our community counselor.
Hey.
How are you, Candy?
I'm very good.
It's always good to see you.
Good to see you.
And if Candy's here, it means it is
Pledge Drive.
And we have on the working the board and on the phones Josh Manus and his alter ego Chris Manus. And we have Doc with us. Give us a call, 972-647-1893. That's 972-647-1893. KNON, we always tell this story, KNON has supported the LGBT community since it went on the air 31 years ago. This is our 31st birthday. Happy birthday.
Wow.
That's right.
Lambda Weekly.
Yeah. KNON, the board of KNON, came to Bill Nelson, who was the president of DGLA at the time, and said, "Hey, you want to do a gay radio show?" And Bill said, "Sure." And then he went back and said, "What's that?" Because there was no such thing, because KNON basically invented it.
Right here in Dallas, Texas.
Right here in Dallas, Texas is right. And the show's evolved over the years. It used to be a lot of music from gay artists and other things like that. There was no internet, so we couldn't just quickly look up the gay news that day.
Right.
So the show really has evolved. But we've had gay radio in Dallas now for 31 years as of this week, because we went on the air the first week that KNON was on the air, and it was on and off the air until September 1st. We were 24 hours, and
nonstop.
KNON has had Lambda Weekly on every week since then.
And because we've been on so long, we'll stay on forever, won't we?
No.
Not if we don't get your support and your help. You got to help keep us on. I mean, we enjoy it. We brag about it. We love that. But you got to help us stay on the air and give us a call.
And I have an extra reason that we need to have pledges today. Our station manager is in the room right next door to us right now. He just walked in.
The pressure's on. I saw that.
The pressure's on.
So the pressure is on. Help us stay on the air, because shows do get canceled based on pledge drive performance.
Yes.
They're not looking at years ago when we were one of the top producing shows on the station. They're looking at today, this quarter. They're not even looking at last quarter when we did make our goal. They're looking at this quarter when so far we haven't made a penny yet. So give us a call, 972-647-1893. That's 972-647-1893. 69718. Right. I'm being dyslexic. Why don't you read those?
972-647-1893. And the 893 on the end is kind of like 89.3 FM. So if you're driving and you want to pull over and call us, you can remember the numbers, just 972-647-189.3.
Very good.
And like I said, Josh and Chris and Doc are standing by to answer the phones.
And if you're curious about this Josh and Chris guy, you can talk to him now.
Okay, have we ever told the story on the air? Okay.
No.
Here's what it is. Josh is a member of Beth El Banah, but his birth name is Chris. Chris comes from
Christ.
The word Christ. Doesn't work real well in a synagogue. So the day he got there, it was the first time you were there, right?
Yeah.
I think it was the first time you were there. First or second, we just thought, no, Chris won't work. So we
I know you wanted me on the board.
well, but it was years before you joined the board.
Sitting in the congregation, they didn't
No,
care.
I joined like 3 months after I came.
So Chris was there, and we said, no, that won't work. We'll call you Josh. Do you know, I have called Chris Josh for the last 10 years? 11. Okay, so for 11 years. It wasn't until he started working the board and Larone got confused because outside of Beth El Banah, he's Josh, he's Chris, but I'm calling him Josh.
Well, I think part of what happened was he sent me an email where we have discussing some stuff outside of Lambda Weekly, and it said Chris, and I'm like, wait a minute.
Who is Chris?
I thought your name was Josh.
It is.
And if you call now to 972-647-189.3, Josh and Chris will speak to you.
Exactly. Talk to them both.
And you only have to give once.
Yep, that's right.
Oh, okay. So, Candy, I'm thinking we came up with several topics we want to talk about, but I'm thinking, what about poor Josh and Chris and his split personality? Is there anything that we can do for it, or just leave it alone?
These days, instead of trying to make one personality disappear, it's all about integration. So that looks to me like what is happening here is that I'm perfectly fine. I think you are too.
I am.
Would think your name is Chris or Josh.
Or Krishua.
And
Krishua.
and you seem to be able to handle that. Only you get a little red every time he introduces you.
Yeah, that.
Well, Josh is more the behind-the-scenes, run-the-board type guy, not the on-the-air guy. There was one thing I did want to start off talking about today, and that's this whole situation with the kids coming across the border from Central America, and Dallas's response and the suburbs' response. Clay Jenkins was real clear. Here's the story that, as I heard him tell it, he had a talk with his daughter, who's about 10 years old, and she said, "Daddy, these kids are my age. We can't just let these kids, what are we going to do with them? We can't just let them loose in the street, and, we have to take care of them, don't we?" And Clay just thought, yeah.
I think that's moving, and I think that's a good story. But I will tell you that story happens all the time with elected officials, with people they love, their children, their cousins, their siblings. When they say, "I am gay," you've got to vote the right way. And they say, "Oh, that will cost me, so I am not going to do that." Clay Jenkins said, "Sure, that's the right thing to do." And he did it. I mean, my hat is off to him, without a doubt.
I'm not
Without a
meaning to
doubt.
take anything away from him at all.
No, I know. I'm just saying how courageous he really was.
And then here's what happened in Collin County. The county commission didn't just not do anything, which is all they had to do to not do anything, but they voted to keep these kids out of their county, that we cannot devote any county resources whatsoever to the immigration problem.
That's just
Tarrant County then
It's
followed.
hateful.
Tarrant County did the same thing. What is it about people in Dallas? Because I'm hearing from people, Republicans and Democrats, just different types of people. I'm hearing we did the right thing. Some people feel, no, these kids really need to be repatriated to their country. Some people feel, no, we need to keep them until the situation is settled in their country. Different reactions. But in Dallas, the reaction is, we need to take care of these kids.
Right.
Why?
Yeah.
They're square counties. What happens at that line that all of a sudden there's this hatred?
I think, first of all, I think we're all very, very proud to be from Dallas. Extremely proud to be from Dallas. And I said before, I think it's due absolutely to the leadership of Clay Jenkins. Absolutely. But having said that, it sounds like they're mad, these people. It sounds like, get off my porch, my property. But it's about fear. Some people come from a point of view of scarcity. There is not enough to go around. And I need to have my part, and for the people that I care about, I want to have resources for them. Then there are some people who come from a point of view of abundance. There's enough. We have enough. We can share. And I don't know why the square Dallas County comes across that way, but they do. And I tend to come from a point of view of abundance. And we can do this. We were talking, I'm second generation Irish. It's what made us who we are. And these kids, they need help, and we need to help them.
And even in times of not so great abundance, we have a history in this country where even in times of the Great Depression, when neighbors didn't have anything to share with their neighbors, they still shared it. They invited them in for a meal.
Fried green tomatoes.
Yes. Exactly. And so even without our abundance today, we need to be doing something for these kids because, the alternative is that they sit in a detention center. These kids...
If they get here.
If they get here. And if they get here, they're running up to the border guards and
surrendering.
And I want to be here because at home I would be dead. And it's a refugee situation, and they're being held in detention centers.
Like they're prisoners.
Yes. And
it's a crisis. And our United States Congress went home.
Yeah.
Without doing a darn thing about it.
Well, the thing they passed is not going to help these kids.
No.
The thing they passed isn't even going to become a law.
Yeah.
It's just a temporary thing.
It's just a, sound and fury.
I shared the story before the show, but if you have kids, listening to some of these stories just really touches you. But I don't think you have to have kids just to have some compassion for these kids, because a lot of people who are fighting to keep them out, they have kids. But one of the stories that I heard was this little girl who was my daughter's age, at 5, was taken in, intercepted or whatever, and she had her little brother who was 2 years old on her back. That story is and looking at my daughter, like, I just cannot fathom that. Who knows how far that little girl walked?
Yep.
With the care of a 2-year-old, thousands of miles, and we can't help them? Come on.
Can you imagine your daughter caring for somebody else?
No. Not even a goldfish at this point. So, I don't know how people can just turn a blind eye to that. I understand.
But in Dallas, we didn't.
We didn't.
We ended up not really having to do a whole lot, other than.
But we were willing to.
We sure were.
And we're still willing to.
He found places. Clay Jenkins found places. I think the way people do that, I always kind of come back to the human nature, is that I think they depersonalize these children. Mm-hmm. They're not really children. Mm-hmm. They're not my children. They're
illegal.
Yeah, and so that makes them robots or something. It makes them not real.
Not human. I think it's very dehumanizing.
They dehumanize them. Without a doubt, they dehumanize them. Because these are good people that are saying these awful things. How do they do that? How do they reconcile that? And I think the way they do it is to think this is not a real person.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That parents are just kind of trying to pull one over on us.
There was a picture of a rally an anti-immigration
say something
rally
about this
in the
picture.
morning news. And I was down there at that rally.
I'd be so
On one
embarrassed.
side of the street were people who were not from Dallas.
Oh, really? Where are they from?
From the suburbs and
Oh,
further,
uh-huh.
and further. And they drove here to protest Clay Jenkins. But on the other side of the street, the side that didn't get much attention, there were twice as many people who were from Dallas, and some from the suburbs also, supporting what Clay was doing. But the look of hatred on this one woman's face, I mean, the photographer must have been snap, 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 got the worst picture he could possibly find. And that picture went viral. It was all over.
yeah.
And it's still going around.
It's still
There are
going
articles
around.
about
And
this.
every one of my friends from out of state who said, look at that hatred in Texas, I had to go onto their Facebook and say, these people are not from Dallas. I'm proud to be from Dallas. And that's not what we did. And you know what, San Francisco, your city didn't step up and do this, because this is where several of my friends posted it from. I said, our city did, and your city was here looking at what we were doing, considering. So, you know, before there's that judgment.
You've got to be proud
And
of
that,
Dallas.
and that photo, this woman's rage was down her neck.
It looked like somebody like scratched her
It's
neck.
just like welts
Yeah,
of anger. And
And no one's identified her.
No.
right, but I
Don't you
wonder.
know she's hidden?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, she's out there somewhere, and I hope that she can explain this to her kids one day.
Yeah.
The level of rage that she expressed that day.
You know, her kids
Right.
have seen that before.
You
If
know
they
her
leave
kids have
out
seen
the
that
milk,
before. Yep.
If they come in a little late,
The splotch neck, they've seen
Mama
that
has
before.
a rage problem.
Yep.
And speaking of rage, it is Pledge Drive.
It's all the rage.
That's raising. Okay.
KNON now has text pledging. You can text KNON to 56512 and make your pledge right now. Text KNON, just those 4 letters, to 56512. You'll get the KNON pledge form sent to your phone by doing that. And let us know your favorite music, your favorite DJ. That would be us. We're not your favorite music, but we're your favorite DJ on KNON, and make your pledge on your phone. So just text KNON to 56512. That's for those of you who no longer talk. And I found a lot of people in my office. They know that I'm the one person who doesn't text.
Still does not text.
And they say to me, okay, when you get that done, just send me a text. So I'll call them and say, hello, this is your text. And it's done. Was that really that difficult for you to listen to my damn voice? The other way to make a pledge, you can go online, just to knon.org, click the pledge button, and you can fill out the form that's there, and you can choose your pledge premium. The
And then
third way,
just put like LW or that
Just
gay
Lambda Weekly
show
or gay.
Lambda Weekly. If
Gay
you can't get Lambda spelled right, you know,
They'll
go
figure
for
it out.
Just, you know,
I like that gay show.
yeah.
or you can call us the old-fashioned way on a phone. It involves dialing numbers.
Yep.
That's similar to texting.
It's similar to
Similar.
texting. You just dial 972-647-1893. Now, I always say still dial, not punch in, because I do still have a rotary phone. But most people have buttons, so you punch in 972-647-1893. That's 972-647-1893.
And when it's on your cell phone, then see that you can save it and create a contact from that, and it'll say, you just call it KNON. And then next
Every
pledge
pledge
drive, you could call in and make another pledge.
And it's just one button.
Yeah, then it's just
Yep.
one button.
So again, give us a call at 972-647-1893.
We have some wonderful new pledge premiums. Our T-shirt this time is a navy blue T-shirt with red writing on it. It's the regular KNON logo with the voice of the people, Dallas, but it's a blue T-shirt, red writing. We have a button-down T-shirt with an embroidered KNON, and we have a KNON Dallas, Texas baseball jersey.
Yeah, the blue shirt with
Which
the
are
red
very nice.
whiting is
Yeah.
And the
very
style
Texas
is right.
Rangers.
And those are for different pledge levels. The regular T-shirt, the KNON T-shirt in navy with red writing is for a $40 pledge. But we do have a number of other pledge premiums,
I'm
which
seeing-
we're not going to read, but
I'm seeing the beach towel on our studio futon.
right.
That is
And
nice.
for a $75 pledge, you get a 2.5-foot beach towel. excuse me, 5 foot by 2.5 foot beach towel with KNON, the voice of the people, on it, which it's just very attractive.
Very attractive and very appropriate for this weather.
Yes.
Then we still
Dallas in August.
This
Yeah,
cold
we're-
weather that we've been having.
Which
It's so cold. Yesterday was
But
like
I love it.
record low high temperature. Normal for yesterday would have been 97. It got up to 81.
Isn't it wonderful?
Yeah.
Yes,
Very nice.
We're having a great summer. And speaking of great summers, we need to have one here. 972-647-1893. They love my segues. 972-647-1893. Pledge to KNON and help keep us on the air beyond our 31st anniversary, because we're just entering middle age.
You can think of it as
Yes.
a birthday present. Call and give us a birthday present for our 31st birthday.
Yeah.
$31 would be awesome.
That would be awesome.
$31
But 40 will
for
get you a
31
T-shirt.
But 40 will get us t-shirt.
And 75 will get you a beach towel.
Yes.
And 125 will get you a lawn chair.
Yes.
Yes.
And 175 will get you a date with Josh or Chris.
Or both.
I'm Dave Taffet. Here in the studio with the late Reverend Patti Fink and Larone Landis. Our guest today is Candy Marcum. She'll be back with more of her inimitable advice right after this.
You are listening to KNON 89.3 FM in Dallas and Fort Worth, the voice of the people.
KNON depends on listener support, and now is the time for you to help keep this show on the air. If you like what you're hearing and want to show appreciation for your community radio station, then pick up the phone and call to make a pledge. Call 972-647-1893 or go online to knon.org. Don't wait for someone else to do it. Without the support of our listeners, there won't be any community radio on the air in North Texas. So take a few minutes and make a pledge. Call 972-647-1893 or go online to knon.org.
And it's time for Laron's Entertainment Report.
Alrighty, a two-time gold medalist Indian woman has been disqualified from the 2014 Commonwealth Games after failing a gender test. This one is really interesting. She showed that her name is D.T. Chand. Her testosterone levels were very high. They were outside of the normal range for females. The young lady apparently has a medical condition called female hydroandrogenism, in which excessive amount of testosterone are produced in the body. Now, the Sports Authority of India, they said that they released a statement saying they wanted to reiterate that the test results do not determine her gender, that the test just simply states that she has excess testosterone, so she can't compete in any female category. So that's, Patty and I, we've differed a little bit in opinions about this, but this one I clearly disagree with.
If your testosterone level is high.
It's just it, I mean, she's absolutely 100% a born female. Her testosterone levels are just high.
So wait a second. So if a guy's testosterone level is too high,
Or too low.
Exactly.
does that mean they are not qualified?
Exactly.
To compete? They have to meet this normal range.
Exactly.
Quote air quotes for normal.
Yeah, she's not transgender, nor is she intersex. Her testosterone levels are just too high. So she does have her supporters just saying that the Sports Authority needs to change their rules
Yes.
because they raise questions like that. And also,
narrow.
what if she was too tall? What if she's 6 inches taller than the average woman? Is she automatically disqualified? I mean, yeah. So I don't know. I found this one really interesting. I disagree with it.
I think it's really bizarre too. And
Yeah.
you think about, like, in a different sport, like in horse racing, Secretariat, the great Secretariat Triple Crown winner, when they did a necropsy of him after he passed away after 20-something years of studying, I'm sure, they found that his heart was 3 times the size of every other horse, of a normal horse.
Really?
But would that have disqualified him from?
Exactly.
Well, having a large heart is not a good thing.
Well, in this one, it pumped more oxygen
Yeah.
to the
Okay.
blood.
Because
to
in
his
a
muscles.
human, that's
In
a
a human,
bad
that's a
thing.
bad thing.
Right.
In an animal, especially a large animal like that, I could say it would be beneficial. But how would you even know that?
When people
Yeah,
are
they
saying
would
to
know
me,
that.
I have a big heart, that's not a good thing.
Yours is 3 sizes too small sometimes, maybe.
I want to hear what Chris said.
What did you say?
What did you say?
I said, I don't think anyone says that to you.
That your arm is too big.
Sorry, I couldn't let that one go by.
Too funny. In more sports news, the NFL has instituted a new rule of a zero-tolerance policy for players on field who use racial or abusive language relating to sexual orientation. This is big. The use of abusive, threatening, or insulting language directed at opponents, teammates, game officials, or representatives of the league is covered under the unsportsmanlike conduct in the playing roles, and this will result in a 15-yard penalty. If you know anything about football, that's huge.
Oh, that's huge. They're
That is
introducing a new
huge.
penalty.
Yes.
Oh, I thought
For the
I didn't know it was
team.
on the field.
No, it's on the field.
On
In
the
addition,
field, using racial.
potential discipline outside of the field could also occur. Also, this not only applies to the players, it applies to the coaches, the game officials, and league personnel. The new emphasis take on new meaning with Michael Sam in training camp for the Rams as the first openly gay player in league history. So I thought that was huge.
And I agree with that because you said for 3 things. What were the 3 things at the very beginning?
Right.
Racial slurs, just any insults and sexual
Okay,
orientation.
but and if it's threatening
or threatening, yes.
threatening
where is it?
or just insulting or
Yeah, abusive,
threatening is
threatening, or insultive language.
Yeah, like I'm going to break your knee next time.
Yeah.
and you know what? A lot of the time when somebody is using that language, oh, it was just a bad word. Oh, it was just meant as an insult. No, it wasn't. It was meant as a threat.
Well,
Absolutely.
here's where it gets kind of convoluted. That is part of the culture of NFL to verbally insult and the other
under
side.
someone's skin.
Is it,
Lots of
exactly.
trash talk at the line
A lot of
of
trash
scrimmage,
talk.
especially.
A lot of trash talk. But when you really get down to it, you're at your job. I can't do that at my job.
Right.
I can't. I'll be walked out the door just like that. I said something like that to
So
somebody.
you don't bend forward and put one hand on the ground?
No. So I think that was a really good move by the NFL. So good for them. They are really making good on their promise to change some of their ways. And last, a judge has given a green light for a tell-all book to be written by a former pilot, who alleges that he had an affair with John Travolta back in the 80s. His name is Doug Goderba. He's been wanting to publish this book for a long time, but John Travolta has done everything he can to keep the book from seeing the light of the day. Now a judge has ruled that he has the right to speak openly, saying that he has no duty of confidentiality to the star. 2 male masseurs have also claimed that John Travolta groped and demanded sex from them. I just wanted to get your take on this, Candy. He might be right. He probably did have an affair with John Travolta, but I've never ever heard John Travolta say anything homophobic in public or say anything. So if he is a closet case, that's his business. Why do you want to write a book to out this guy?
Well, when we were visiting about this, the obvious answer is he wants to make money. But that wasn't the obvious answer to me, though I'm sure that's in the top 2 reasons. But I think a very substantial reason on his part would be he has been rejected. He has been rejected by either a one-night stand or an intense love relationship. Nonetheless, he has been rejected. And there's something about wanting to validate that this happened and this was real, and you had feelings for me and I had feelings for you, and you're ducking this. And I want people to know you loved me. I was important to you at one time.
When somebody comes out and they're in a marriage, isn't that the same feeling that the heterosexual member of that relationship has when the gay partner leaves? You know what I'm saying? Let's say a husband and wife marry. The husband, after 5 years, decides, no, I'm gay and I'm going to come out. Isn't that what we've heard that...
Yes. She wants to know, did you never love me?
Right.
Was this always a sham?
She wants it to be... She wants to be validated.
Right. Well, let's take it a little further. Sometimes I hear this, maybe 50% of the time I hear this, and I just cringe when I hear it. When someone says after, 5 years or 50 years, I don't love you, and I never did. I thought, can't you just leave the other part out?
Yeah.
Can't you just say I don't love you?
Yeah.
And then we kind of end it there. But I never did.
Yeah, well, that's obviously an intentional sting.
Yes,
Yeah.
if somebody's angry.
Yeah.
You know?
But I think you got a point there, David. This guy, he claims that they dated for about 6 months, and the year that they broke up is the same year that John Travolta got married to his wife, that he's still with to this day.
Yeah,
Which is Kelly Preston, I think.
Yes, yeah,
right.
Kelly Preston.
You know, they've had kids together. I don't really care. Do you?
I don't. I've heard that all my life that John Travolta was
yeah.
gay, but you know, there's.
It makes no difference to me.
It doesn't to me either.
It doesn't mean
I don't
the
care.
only time it cares to me is if you're out there making homophobic comments, especially if you're a politician and you're a lawmaker passing bills against the gay community. Yeah, then I think it's
Or a
important.
religious leader who's making
That
very
too.
anti-gay.
There's nothing more dangerous than a closeted, powerful person.
Yes.
I mean, that person scares me. And so I don't mind calling them out on it because they're making
Right.
judgments on me.
But I don't think that applies to John Travolta.
no, I don't either. Who cares?
Yeah,
And John Travolta, I think, is he's been all over the range for an actor.
he has.
Yeah.
And
hasn't he?
I remember the first time I encountered him because I was overseas at the time. He was in Saturday Night Fever, but then I didn't see the years of Welcome Back, Kotter and all that. I didn't know him in that capacity.
Oh.
But then he's been all the way from like Face Off and Broken Arrow,
Yep.
all the way to
To
Divine.
Divine. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I just think as an actor, he's really,
Good.
he's pretty
It's a
good.
broad
And he can be
spectrum.
as intimidating as he needs to be, and he can be as playful and loving as he needs to be in the roles as he's been.
And I don't think it
casted.
has anything to do with his sexual orientation.
Absolutely.
So
No.
who cares?
Yep.
I don't think this book is probably going to sell as well as this guy thinks it's going to.
That's you and all of us saying that. These kinds of books sell.
I think they sell with someone who's really, 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 the public has a really big interest on. But like Patti said, these rooms have been around for so long.
They
I
have.
don't think brilliant people are that just that interested anymore.
Yeah. And maybe he is bisexual. I mean, he's
Maybe.
been married
I mean,
all these years
yeah.
with kids.
Maybe they do have
And
an
maybe
arrangement.
she knows.
He alleges that too, that they have an arrangement. Well, maybe they do. That's their
It's
business.
not your business.
Yeah,
That's been said about other actors. too.
Exactly,
Like
exactly.
Tom
And the
Cruise
thing
Exactly.
is, when this guy dated him or whatever for 6 months, he knew the story. I mean, chances are he knew it was John Travolta.
Right. Exactly. He was already a
So
star at that point.
He
yeah.
made those decisions himself.
Yeah. So.
So,
972-647-1893.
let me do my segue.
Sorry.
Speaking of making decisions, you can make a decision right now to pick up the phone and call.
972-647-189.3.
Thank you. I feel much better having segued into that. It is Pledge Drive this week. And next, so give us a call, 972-647-1893. You can make your pledge that way, or you can just go to our website, especially if you're listening to the podcast that'll be up online later this week. If you're listening to the podcast weeks or months from now, and you say, oh, yeah, well, this was their Pledge Drive show, you can pledge anytime by going online. You're online if you're listening to the podcast. You can go online, knon.org, press the pledge button, and it asks for all the information. It lists all of the pledge premiums. You just have to fill in your name, your address, your credit card number, and which pledge you want, and that it's for Lambda Weekly or for whatever show you're calling for.
And if you're listening to our podcast and you get to the pledge show and you do that and you go online and make your pledge, and then you get to the next podcast and we're still doing Pledge Drive, you could go back online and pledge again.
You can.
And then if we're doing it for a third week, you could go back and pledge again.
Because we need to stay on the air.
Yep.
This is an important show. It helps a lot of people. It's entertaining like crazy. But also, if you are someone who's not quite comfortable with your sexual orientation, you're trying to get in touch with other people who are able to talk more about being gay than maybe you can, you want to keep the show on the air.
Some of the best stories we've heard in our entire careers on Knon doing this show have been people who fit that description.
Yep,
You know,
absolutely.
And when you write your check or your credit card, it just goes to KNON. It doesn't go to the gay show. It's just going to KNON because that's the nonprofit that is tax deductible.
It doesn't
when
go
you
to
make
your salaries?
Our
No.
salaries.
No, no, it doesn't go toward our salaries either.
They don't have salaries.
Speaking of salaries, if your company does matching funds, and you know that they do, let us know, and let us know what we need to do. Very often you just have to go to your HR department or something like that to double your pledge. So if you're making a $40 pledge, that becomes an $80 pledge. And it helps us get to our goal that much quicker. We need about $100,000 more. So if somebody would like to make a $100,000 pledge,
Then we'll quit talking.
You get every pledge premium. You know,
we will
Good.
send you one of every pledge premium, and we would even have them on as a guest on our show.
absolutely.
Absolutely.
You get a plaque on the wall, and probably more than one of every pledge. You could get several of those. So think about it.
And we'd like to thank Raymond for calling in and making a pledge. Thank you very much, Raymond. We do appreciate that.
Thank you, Raymond.
Yeah, 972-647-1893 is the phone number to call like Raymond did. You can text KNON to, did anybody remember what that number?
56512.
56512. That's KNON to 56512. You can make your pledge on the phone, or you can go to knon.org.
Raymond rocks.
Yeah,
Raymond
thank you.
rocks.
yes.
And you can also do a bank draft.
That's
so
right.
that you can give $10 a month or $20 a month or $25, whatever you're comfortable with, and you don't really miss it. That's that's your Starbucks for the week
Yeah.
or whatever.
For the day.
And for the day, in fact. And you can do that, and you can just give us a call, and we'll have the station contact you to set that up, and that's a great way to support the station. KNON's been there for us. We need to be there for them too, and keep us on the air. And in fact, when I was in San Francisco, the photographer for the wedding, a dear friend of my cousin's, had worked for the GLBT center in Los Angeles, and he flew up from Los Angeles for the day and took photos and then went back. But he and I were talking, and he said, he goes, "Oh, I hear you do a radio show in Dallas," and he goes, "And I hear it's older than the show in L.A." And he goes, "The show in L.A. is only 25 years old, and that they've been on the air for 25 years continuously." And I said, "Oh, we're 31. We're 31." And he goes, "That's really something. That's
It
a really
is.
amazing
Right.
thing." And so we're the oldest, longest running LGBT radio show anywhere in the United States and possibly anywhere in the world.
We haven't had anyone prove us wrong.
Yep.
Nope.
So I think it's really cool that he was totally impressed. And maybe we should do a joint show with that show.
Oh, I'd love to.
That would be awesome. And
That is impressive.
We
though.
did that with the hosts from Houston. I would love
Yeah.
to.
We did.
Oh,
it would be
People are
great.
always so surprised how gay Dallas is. They really are.
and why is that?
I think the picture they have of us, or that woman screaming at those children coming over from South America and Central America. Unfortunately, I think they see Dallas as very flat and very brown, no
very
water, and very red.
I think
we're
the
not,
whole,
we're blue.
I think
it's
outsiders have
amazing.
painted the entire state with that image.
Yeah.
Right.
And
But why is it we have so many firsts in Dallas? Why do you think that is?
I've seen this in my professional organizations too, the non-gay ones. There's a lot of leadership in Dallas. I think there's a lot of natural leaders in Dallas, and so whatever they get involved with, they kind of rise to the top to a leadership position.
I think that's true, and I think part of it also is that when you see other leaders and associate with other leaders, you pick up those skills.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because people here are very generous with those skills,
Yes.
and you
we
share them.
mentor a lot.
Yeah.
And when you're around the best, it brings out the best in you.
Well, I think
Yes.
too. I think one of the things that really struck me when I was serving with HRC and going to D.C. twice a year, and then was served on the Board of Governors and
Yeah.
such, there was a big split, I think, around the country that I think Dallas really excels at. And of course, Dallas those days was getting almost cleaning up the awards all the time.
Of course.
But there's a big line of people wanting to serve.
Yeah.
and it's really difficult to make a decision about which one you give a position to and such. And other cities are like begging people. I can remember someone from LA saying, "Oh, we have a really hard time getting anybody to serve on the board of governors for the Human Rights Campaign." I'm like, in Los Angeles, really? I mean, you would think they'd be clamoring over each other to do it. Where they are in Dallas, they want to serve.
Yeah.
And I just think it's different. And when we see the Black Tie Dinner, for example, it started here, and now they're nationwide, and we have the largest predominantly LGBT church in the country.
Do you know what I think it is partially? I think here, we're not afraid of it. We've had to overcome so much because this was a very conservative city. And now I proudly say, I do a gay radio show.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Even when I've been applying for jobs, I use that. And my feeling has always been, if they don't like it, then don't hire me, because I'm going to continue doing that gay radio show. And it's who I am. So.
When I was involved with the Human Rights Campaign, I'd go to New York and other places. I'd always talk about the Dallas Voice. I love that newspaper. I think it is a tremendous newspaper, and it's also heard of everywhere around the United States, along with the leadership that we have in the gay community here in Dallas. And so we need to start talking about KNON. In that way that person in LA had heard about it.
Right.
And let's talk about KNON, because it is Pledge Drive. If you would like to make your pledge through a monthly bank draft, that is so helpful. It can be a $10 a month pledge, which adds up to $120 a year, except in leap years, which it would be $170. Or something like that. Oh, no, that's the Hebrew year. Where there are extra months. No, just a $10 a month pledge comes to $120 a year. A $20 pledge would be $240 a year. But that $20 a month that you're giving the station knows that it has that money coming, and it's easier to budget that way. So if you're going to make a larger pledge and you'd like to do a bank draft, and you don't have to keep calling us that way, because the bank draft can be set up for a year or longer. Just call us now. Tell us you'd like to start a bank draft. You can do it with your checking account or savings account. An automatic monthly draft will occur from your account. You can have it deducted at the first of the month or the middle of the month, however you like it. It's easy. You select. Basically, I guess what it is Christian in our Pledge Drive office will give you a call back. So we'll just take the basic information, tell us how much you'd like it to be, and we can set up that bank draft for you. And you get the pledge premium based on the full year. Is that right, Patty?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I say that because I know Patti does that all the time. We're going to take a break. I'm Dave Taffet here in the studio with the late Reverend Patti Fink and Larone Landis, who doesn't have a title. Our guest,
the dude.
Oh, who's the dude? Yes.
Or I'm Sugar Daddy.
And our guest today is Candy Marcum. Candy is always here for our first pledge drive. I was walking over this morning and thinking, oh, good, Candy's going to be on. And it's like, oh, God, Candy's on his pledge drive.
Double-edged sword, isn't it?
So we'll be back with more Pledge Drive, more Candy Marcum right after this.
KNON 89.3 FM in Dallas and Fort Worth, the voice of the people.
KNON has survived on listener donations for over 30 years, and now you can support community radio easily from your smartphone. Text KNON to 56512. Click on the link and make your donation. Don't forget to select the type of music and DJ you're supporting. Your support truly does make a difference. Text KNON to 56512 and make your pledge to community radio.
This is William. I download Lambda Weekly podcast from lambdaweekly.com.
You weren't.
And that was William, who is on the phone with us today. Thank you, William, for answering the phone. William is Doc. Josh is Chris. Larone is the dude. Candy, you and I are the only ones with only one name.
That's right. That's all we need.
That is all we need.
Well, one name. You're David and Candy, so you don't even need your last names.
That's right.
Okay, it is Pledge Drive. We're going to talk with Candy about, I want to talk to you about marriage. But give us a call. We do need more phone calls to get us on track to make our goal this pledge drive. 972-647-1893, 972-647-1893. Candy, the way marriage decisions have been going in the courts, it's inevitable. One judge after the other isn't just knocking down state marriage bans. One is topping the other. And it's real interesting reading these legal decisions. If you're a legal nerd like I am, I run to see, what did this one say? And just read through, like 100 pages of this legal mumbo jumbo. But they always have their own special little nugget in each one, just to show how dumb the arguments were. What's his name? Greg Abbott filed he got an extension because it took him extra time to come up with this garbage that he wrote. He filed the Texas
brief.
What's our argument here in Texas why we shouldn't have?
And for those who may not know who he is, Greg Abbott is currently the Attorney General of the state of Texas. There are many attorneys general who declined to defend this law in their states. Mm-hmm. And we've been asking Greg Abbott not to defend the one in Texas.
And why would Greg
but he's also
do
running
that?
for governor.
Yes.
There it is.
Yeah.
He's running for governor.
Yeah, his arguments were so stupid. They were they revolved they revolved around procreation. But he went further. He said, because the argument has been, or the rebuttal has been, well, just because you don't have kids doesn't mean that your marriage isn't valid. So he said we can give a very expansive view to those who can possibly procreate. In other words, if you're heterosexual, you deserve those special rights to marry, and if
whether
you're not,
you have kids.
whether or not you have kids, and the people who are gay who have kids don't deserve those rights for some reason, and that's the part he didn't address. The other thing he said was he knocked down due process as if it doesn't exist, but equal protection he defended as a religious right. So my equal protection protects me from having to give you your rights because it
Basically,
offends me.
His argument is his religious rights trumps yours.
Yes.
It's so hard to get past all that because those are all the talking points of people running for office, conservatives running for office, and that's why it doesn't make any sense. They are just the talking points. I bet he doesn't give a darn if gay people marry or not, but he's running for governor. But I agree, David. It's inevitable that it's coming, and not only from state to state, but on the federal level. Somebody interviewed Ruth Ginsburg recently.
The notorious RBG, as they call her.
And she said that the Supreme Court will not duck it this time. They will look at it this time, and within 2 years, marriage will be legal for everyone.
I wonder what she's going to decide. Now, she's already officiated it at same-sex marriage.
Yeah.
Right.
Gee, I wonder.
I think the decision's already made.
She's just waiting for it to come there. So, it's the perfect storm, as it were, that is coming from the state level and it's coming from the national level and it's coming at the same time.
Same time.
I think there are 4 states right now that are going to hear on Monday. One's Kentucky. I forget what the other ones are.
There are like 6 cases. It's the Sixth Circuit. It's Ohio, Kentucky, Tennessee, and Michigan.
Right.
And Ohio has 2 cases. Kentucky, I think, has 2 cases. The reason it's multiple cases within the same state, in some states there were separate cases for recognizing our marriage that was performed out of state, and then we want to be married in state. And those were separate cases.
Yeah.
But more importantly, there's 2 cases that have now been appealed directly to the Supreme Court.
Yes. No, 3.
What's the third one?
Virginia.
That's right, Virginia. That was this week. You're right.
Right.
That's right.
So it's
Keep up.
Well, it's hard to. There's so much going on.
There's so much.
And it is so exciting.
Now, the thing is, we're expecting a negative decision from the Fifth Circuit, which is the Texas decision.
That's going to be hard. That's going to be hard to come down.
You know
for
what?
The ban.
But we're expecting it. It's the most conservative appeals court, but that forces it to the Supreme Court.
Yes.
Yeah,
So that might be the one that goes.
So if everybody agrees, and is doing the same thing, the court could say, well, let's let this play out. We have another dozen cases or more that can go to the appeals courts. But if there's this, Texas no, Utah yes, and Oklahoma yes, we have to settle that, and that's when it's forced to the Supreme Court.
In Oklahoma, yes. Do you know which state has the highest divorce rate in the U.S.?
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma.
Really?
Do you know which religious denomination has the highest divorce rate in the country? Southern Baptists.
Well, and the lowest divorce rate in the country is Massachusetts. Number 2 is
Catholic.
Vermont. Number 3, the top 10, 9 of the top 10 are marriage equality states.
Yep.
Why? Because they're not worried about everybody else's marriages. They just work on their own.
Right.
But I have to say that I am worried about gay marriages in this way. I want them to be successful. And I know there's a track record. It doesn't have to do with being male or female or gay or straight. It has to do with trying to live with another person. That half of all marriages end in divorce. And 2/3 of all second marriages end in divorce.
2/3?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I think that's because they've already been hurt. Even if they wanted that first divorce, they're careful with the second marriage, and so maybe they just put one foot in. And you got to have 2 feet in a marriage to make it work. So I am worried. I think our statistics should look the same, and those are bad statistics. I see what happens.
So far, they don't.
Yeah.
So far, they don't, because
But it's kinda
by and large,
they're older couples getting married.
Yeah, people are not.
Who've lived together for a while.
Teenagers, two gay teens are not getting drunk and hiring a surrogate.
Yet.
Right.
In the backseat of a car.
In the backseat of a car.
Well, I agree with you, Candy. I want them to work, and I think maybe I'm just being really optimistic here. I think on average they will work.
I think they'll work just the same.
I think they will.
Because they're people.
I think they'll work a little better, and here's why.
Okay.
Not that we in our community don't get divorced, because we already have been, but I think on average they'll work a little better because we don't have the same type of pressure and expectations that heterosexual couples do. And the ones who are getting married, they've been together for a very long time.
And Candy, we're going to go right back to you. I do want to remind people it is Pledge Drive. Give us a call, 972-647-1893, 972-647-1893, or text KNON to 56512. That's KNON to 56512.
I'll tell you what I've been seeing in my practice for a while, and I really like it, and that is heterosexual couples coming in for premarital counseling.
That's great.
Now,
Wow, that's awesome.
How do you think they're motivated to do that? Through their church, because you see, they get married in churches, and they talk to their pastor, male or female, whoever's head of that church. And they not only do they have those classes in their churches, they say you should go talk to a marriage and family therapist, which is what I am.
And so they say, we know this big loudmouth lesbian. She's in Oak Lawn, and if you want to know how to make your marriage work,
go see her.
Go see her.
But I love that, and I think they're so smart that they do that. So that's what I want to say to our community.
Oh, I agree.
Is come. Hello. See, everyone
Somebody's
agrees.
at the door.
Come to premarital counseling, and let's talk about it, because what we talk about is if there have been a previous marriage, if there's children involved, if there's a mother-in-law involved, there's money problems.
Basic things like, I want kids, no, I don't want kids.
Absolutely.
And
I
that
you
more and
said
more-
you
And I
did.
am so surprised with some of my heterosexual friends who are in that situation. I'm like, y'all didn't talk about that before you got married?
They did, and it was like, oh, yes.
And
then when they
LaRon-
got married, it's like, oh, no.
LaRon, you said you and Danny, the day you met, talked about having kids.
Yeah, the
day you met.
Yeah, the very first day.
Okay, so
yeah.
what's the difference? 2 men, 2 gay men, you have to talk about that.
Yeah.
Because you might just take for granted we'll never have children.
Yeah.
2 heterosexual people, you might take for granted we will have children.
And more gay couples who are getting together, especially younger gay couples, do need to talk about that, because there could be an expectation, well, so I'm gay, so I'm still going to have kids. My mother still wants to be a grandmother.
Yeah, that premarital counseling is very, very helpful. For one thing, it gives you skills and tools on how to communicate. I mean, it's not good to have your relationship live in the therapist's office. It just needs to visit every now and then.
Go in for a tune-up.
That's right.
Yeah.
So that's what I want to say to our community, and if they're not involved in churches, because when marriage passes in Texas, a church will have an option to perform that marriage or not. So I'm wanting them to get that information that marriage can be difficult, and there's ways to smooth it out.
You know, we didn't mention there's a fourth way to pledge. And we just have a pledger who just came into the studio to
Just
pledge.
walked in with a check. Okay.
Well, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Did you
Thank
want
you
to
so
pledge
much.
premium?
No.
Cash.
Oh, okay. Very good. We,
I'd love last week's
Let's get her
show,
name.
and yeah,
And don't.
write down all the information. So
It's
that's
like
the,
a drive-through.
that's the other way.
Here.
Right. Thank
Candy,
you so much. We appreciate that.
I wanted to ask, in states where marriage has suddenly become legal, there's been this mad rush to City Hall to get your marriage license. How healthy is that?
You know, I think it depends on your personality. I want my own. I want my own marriage ceremony. Now, Carolyn and I are starting to talk about it. That's interesting. We've talked about it kind of in passing. We are really talking about it now.
Because it might happen in Texas. See, Aaron and I want to marry where we live.
Too. It's going to happen in Texas. And the other night we had a very good friend over for dinner, and Carolyn said to her, Candy and I are talking about getting married. And I'm kind of, wonder what Carolyn's going to say. And she asked this gal to be her maid of honor.
Oh,
Wow.
wonderful.
Isn't that something?
That is
And I was
great.
like,
But see,
yes.
David, that's where I think it's a little different. You said a mad rush. Well, most of these people who are rushing to get married have been together.
They've been together for
a long
years.
time.
No, but here's what I'm thinking. You might have been together. You know, Patty, you and Aaron have been together for 37 years, and
I can't be. I'm only 23.
And you look 21.
And I look 21. Thank you. That's awesome.
but the bride always has her special day. How important is that special day, or is getting married in that group the special day for us? How important would it be for, you've officiated at a couple of weddings now, which is why we're calling her the Reverend, because she got her title through the internet, but it's legal in California.
Yes, it is.
And she can actually perform a wedding. Wasn't that special to have a special wedding just for that couple?
I think it was really awesome. I want to back up, though. I think it's really important when people say we rush to City Hall. I think that people have been waiting for decades. And now the gate is open, and why not walk through?
Yeah, this is no rush.
And especially the first day, there have been big
not a
parties,
rush, yeah.
and people have been providing flowers and cakes and all kinds, and it's been that kind of thing. But I'm just asking you, how important is it? And I guess it depends on the couple.
Yeah. People are waiting. People are waiting for the bell to ring, and once it rings, they're going to get married. Lots and lots of marriages, and
I mean,
people need to be ready for that. I think ministers, whether through the internet or not, need to be ready for it. I think cake makers need to be ready for it. I think attorneys need to be ready for it. I mean, there's going to be a flood of people.
If you look at Fox News, you would think that cake makers are
under siege.
They're under siege.
Oh, because they have to and they don't want to?
Because they have to and they don't want to, because we know that all cake makers go to First Baptist Church. That's so silly. It's additional business. It's a huge amount of additional
Well,
business.
let's not do business with them. Let's find people that want to do business with us.
There's an estimation, I forget what the number is, but it's something like $82 billion that would bring into the economy of this state.
And I mean, in one fell swoop. Yes.
Yeah.
I
The
mean,
second it becomes legal.
It's good news. It's going to be good news when we're able to marry in Texas.
And I
Absolutely.
think there's a lot of just watching the wedding process with my cousins. There's a lot, I think, of heterosexual people who may jump into the details and the minutia of a wedding, the act of a wedding, not the marriage, the wedding.
Yes.
And get lost in that, all that tradition and all of the things you have to do and all the things that cost money. and lose the perspective of what the
marriage.
relationships
Yes.
can be.
We are almost out of time. I want to thank Linda. I want to thank Cam. They made not pledges. They actually paid their pledges already.
All right.
I do want to thank.
Thank you, Linda and Cam.
Earlier
You guys
ones,
rock too.
Raymond and
That's right.
Christopher, who made a pledge.
Thank you, Raymond and Christopher.
You
guys rock.
We are well on our way to making our goal.
And thank
this
you
time.
so much, Candy.
Thank you so
as
much, Candy
usual.
Marcum, for
lot of
being with
fun.
us.
Lot of
We'll see
fun.
you the 1st of August, September, October, 1st of November.
November. Right. It'll be my birthday.
Ah.
Oh,
Ooh,
perfect.
Awesome. Thank you, Candy.
I love being here.
And we'll be back with more Lambda Weekly and more Pledge Drive next week. You can still make a call to make a pledge, 972-647-1893.
KNON 89.3 FM in Dallas and Fort Worth, the voice of the people. Business owners, tell KNON's listeners about your business. You can put your business or event on KNON. KNON currently has space available to run announcements for you. Tell KNON's listeners about your goods, services, nightclub, concert, or event. Help keep the voice of the people on the air while putting your information on the air. KNON's been named the #1 radio station in Dallas by both the Dallas Observer and D Magazine. Put your business with Dallas's #1 station. Call now for more information at 214-828-9500, extension 227, or extension 233. For more information, go to knon.org and click on the Run Spots on KNON page. It's a great way for your business to support community radio while letting more people know about you.